Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Tomorrow is Election Day, the day that Americans choose their leaders based on their views on important issues, or sometimes based on who had the best TV commercial. What ads did you like or dislike this year? Joining us tonight for analysis are Hank Boyd, clinical professor of marketing at the Robert H. Smith School of Business, and Aaron Watley, assistant professor of communications and cinema at McDaniel College. Professors, thanks to both of you for being here.
It's great being here.
It is great to be here.
Viewers of public television, if you watch public television exclusively, you never see a political ad because public broadcasters do not run them, but most people come across political ads in the course of their lives. We're going to show you some examples tonight. We're also going to talk about the very controversial Trump immigration ad that has been banned by major networks. But to begin, let's set the stage a little bit. How important, if you're running marketing for a political campaign, how important is TV in this multimedia era?
I would argue TV still matters. Even though we think of social media now taking over, you got to have a Facebook page, you got to have a Twitter account. But folks still, every now and then you're watching your favorite show, be it Gotham, be it This Is Us. Here comes a commercial and son of a gun, this is a candidate, and I'm learning a little bit more about their background. So TV still matters.
Aaron, you study these ads too. What do you look for?
I think when you're looking at the ads, when I teach about the ads or when I'm studying these ads, I'm really looking for how the message is being presented, like what is there besides what's being said directly in the ad. And so I think that trying to translate past what's being said directly is one of the things that I look at. So implicit messages, the tone of an ad, how is it playing into fears or assumptions or stereotypes? Those are a lot of the things that I look at when I'm looking at ads in any media really in particular.
Is it the same marketing science? Is it the same people, the same conversation that happens if you're making a beer commercial as opposed to a political spot? You're selling a product.
You can't exactly equate a person with an object or a brand in this sense, but if you work hard enough, the notion of a vision, an idea of what you stand for, that is marketing. So at the end of the day, I've got to persuade you to vote for this candidate as opposed to another candidate. And to Aaron's point, things like what you convey in terms of leadership, are you someone who stands firm on your ground and all that, is going to resonate with voters. Are you someone who's laid back and easygoing and I can have a beer with you? That matters. So are you personable, and yet at the same time I feel like you could be the executive to run whatever post you're seeking, or seat, I should say.
And maybe it's helpful that candidates are forced to boil it all down to 30 seconds to come up with a message and have it be responsive to people. But you look at some of the dark side of this as well.
I don't know how beneficial it actually, it's beneficial in the sense of getting a message out quickly, for sure. I think that there's a lot of harm that comes when you look at the quickness of that message being put out amongst all of this noise, right? If you're only getting a short snippet and that's all that people are paying attention to, then I think in the long scheme that a lot of things that the ads do are not as beneficial for getting real information, right? Or actually becoming more informed.
Attack ads, everybody says they hate them, but they work, right?
It's hard for me to say whether or not it works. What I do know is that it gets attention and it generates conversation, and even in exchange like this, right? Talking about it and talking about it, you generate buzz around the campaign, around the messaging that's being done there. And so I think that is what gets generated much more than real information for people.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question for the experts about political ads or a comment or something you've seen that you want to tell us about, call the number on the screen, or you can send an email to us. The email address is livequestions@mpt.org. So our plan is to start with some ads. in the Maryland governor's race, which has been expensive, but not crazy expensive compared to some other states. We'll show you a positive ad and a negative ad, and we'll begin with this ad that was paid for by the Hogan campaign.
Governor Larry Hogan, he's been diagnosed with advanced non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
I would do laps around the cancer ward. There was one kid in particular, Jimmy, battling leukemia. I'm walking by and this kid yells out to me, "Hey, Governor." They call me the mayor. We chatted up and it's like the mayor and the governor. And I spoke at his funeral. And I said, we're changing this first annual Governor's Courage Award. From now on, it's going to be the Jimmy Myrick Jr. Courage Award. It's going to be given in his name.
Hogan campaign had the resources to produce a wide array of spots. I don't know how much that one ran, but it's certainly the most memorable ad that they produced.
Yeah. It's something they started running in October, I believe. And so it's a brilliant spot talking about the human connection. And it was so deftly done in the sense that we know what Governor Larry Hogan had to go through in terms of fighting cancer. He talks about a young man as the mayor inside that ward, and he bonds with this young man, and sadly, he has to attend his funeral. But going forward on a positive note, to rename this award after that young man, Jimmy, which is just, it's political genius.
Touchy topic. I mean, you have to be careful not to be seen as trying to exploit something. Right. Did that work?
Again, I think it really depends on how you're determining whether or not it works. Does it get attention? Does it pull at the heartstrings? Definitely. I didn't run across this ad until a little bit later in the campaigning, and so when I saw it, I was like, oh, like you feel a emotional connection to what's being displayed. Using the cancer and then naming the award after the young man who died, and then most importantly, right, hearing that he died, right? Then it's like, oh, all of this feeling that gets attached, and then that in turn gets attached to your feelings about that particular candidate, right? It's like, oh, the human connection, they were able to connect, look what they've done as a result. Again, I don't know if it's actually swaying minds or reinforcing feelings that people may or may not have already had about the person who's running the spot.
Let's look at a biographical spot from the Jealous campaign. This aired earlier in the election. Let's take a look.
Ben Jealous. His mother was raised in a Baltimore housing project and left Maryland because her interracial marriage was illegal. He was a Rhodes Scholar who became the youngest national president of the NAACP, which he led to an era of unprecedented growth. Ben Jealous, community organizer, civil rights leader, job-creating investor. Named Marylander of the Year for his role in ending the death penalty, passing marriage equality, and the DREAM Act.
I'm Ben Jealous. I'm running for governor to make sure public school teachers are trained well and paid better, to end mass incarceration.
That was a 60-second spot. We're only going to play roughly 30 seconds just to keep things balanced and moving along. Seemed like a professional introductory ad.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it does a similar thing. It uses similar tactics in humanizing the person, bringing up information that may be relevant to voters or of interest, right? So things like associations with the NAACP or having come from a family that is of a interracial background, right? I think all of those play into who Jealous is as a person, and does that, again, effectiveness is hard to measure, but it brings up and it uses a lot of tools in order to do that.
And I thought it was a pretty good spot. It's standard fare in the political arena to say, here's the candidate, a little bit of the background. He needed to check all the boxes on a positive note. These are the democratic themes that we know over the years that we associate with the party. And he's going up against an incumbent, well-funded, and he's got to carve out his own unique brand in the marketplace. What does Ben Jealous stand for? Why would I say, okay, we've had Hogan, he's worked, but there could be something more, that we could do better. That's sort of those things that ideals, our aspirations of where we should go as a state.
Now we'll take a look at an attack ad on each side of this. Neither, interestingly, funded by the campaigns themselves. This spot was paid for by the Republican Governors Association.
Why do so many fellow Democrats refuse to support Ben Jealous? Because Jealous is too extreme for Maryland.
Go ahead, call me a socialist.
Jealous would raise your taxes, and his radical, irresponsible proposals would destroy our economy. A nonpartisan analysis says his health care plan alone could cost an extra $2,800 from every man, woman, and child.
Go ahead, call me a socialist.
Maryland can't afford Ben Jealous as governor.
That started playing early in the general election cycle. The race was on to define Ben Jealous, who was little known, had come through the Democratic primary process, and sort of old school attack ad, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that's done in politics. The other candidate comes out and you're saying, well, it's a brutal sport. Let's call politics what it is. And so if we say that your own folks are waffling, they're not sure if you're the guy, to get someone like Ike Leggett, who's pretty much legendary when it comes to Maryland politics.
He did subsequently
He
endorse.
subsequently did, but of course when the ad came across for the typical viewer, they're like, oh, well, maybe they're not really behind this guy, so maybe if I'm a Democrat, it's okay to vote for Larry Hogan. And so they executed that in the proper style, if you will, of negative advertising.
Thoughts on that, or you want
I mean,
to move on?
I think that seeing those techniques are, you can tell the message that's really undergirding what's happening there. I mean, like the ominous tone of the music, right? The way that Jealous is being framed, where it's like darkening of him to look like more menacing, right? I think that you see that in the shots, even like the up camera shots, just making him look like more aggressive, right? Or like pausing with him saying, you know, call me a socialist. Like all those things with the music, all of them put together create this like feeling of like peril and doom and all of those. And I think that it is, it's classic attack ad, as you say, but I think it's also, you know, look at how he's being portrayed, right, by the people who are endorsing or who want to create this attack ad against him.
All great points. So at a minimum, some of the visual effects are highlighting a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yes.
Maybe something else. I mean, there's the scary music and all that stuff.
Yeah, the freeze frame, you know, with like sort of like, I mean, I think that it looks, again, I look at it and I laugh at it a little bit because it feels over the top. It feels like, you know, oh, look at how scary this person is. And again, I can't speak to effect, but I think that there's a messaging even in how that message was created.
Okay, next spot, and I'll have to find, it's a group called Maryland Together We Rise, which is a political action committee supported by a couple of unions and a couple of major out-of-state donors to the Jealous campaign. This is their shot at Larry Hogan. Maybe didn't have the giant production budget of some of the other ads. Effective?
I think it's somewhat effective in the sense that when we look at Ben Jealous's campaign, he has been endorsed by the teachers. So this is like political jiu-jitsu. If we can show that Larry Hogan has aligned himself with Betsy DeVos, and she's a lightning rod. You mentioned the name, everyone's like, oh yeah, there was that skit in Saturday Night Live, and Kate McKinnon.
If you asked 100 people who the education secretary, maybe.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but she's done some things that are somewhat controversial.
Hogan sat next to her.
Yeah, he sat next to her, and it looked like he was raising his hand, agreeing with, let's have guns in the schools, which is ludicrous on its face, but they know that it'll resonate as a negative ad, and people will think that, yeah, maybe Larry Hogan really isn't doing the right thing for education. Let's try something new. Let's try Ben Jealous.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a comment, if there's anything you have seen that you would like to talk about, give us a call or email us at livequestions@mpt.org. Let's take a call from Harford County. This is Joe. Joe, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks.
Thank you.
My question is, how can they take a soundbite or a quote out of context and twist it around to make it to be either their benefit or to smear their opponent? And the other thing, how can local government promise things that are controlled by the federal. Thanks.
Thank you. The out of context thing is interesting, and it's something, a point I should have made. In Go Ahead, Call Me a Socialist, the Jealous campaign actually asked for that ad to be pulled down. They requested that broadcasters largely in Baltimore stop running it, saying it was out of context. The rest of the quote was, "I'm a venture capitalist." Where the line is on fairness is hard to tell, because the Trump spot that has been banned by a bunch of networks today that we will talk about has been pulled. But by and large, stations are reluctant and feel that they're constrained by federal law in running whatever comes in.
But you've hit an interesting point. In the realm of political advertising, there are no bright line rules. And so you're going to push the envelope. If we say that we can take a quote and twist it as the caller brought in, we'll go for it. We'll give it a shot. And of course, it may be a while before someone realizes, like you said, it's an error, you're taking it out of context. And by the time you can come up with this corrective stance of what the person actually said, it's too late. By that point, for the viewing audience out there, they've now made that association, or they've stored it in memory that, hey, there's this point against you.
Email question on the same topic from Tom. What happened to the standards and practices at the broadcast networks that used to vet political ads? And I do think there's some limitation on what they can do short of going to court.
Yep. I mean, I can't speak to the standards and practices of the broadcast institutions in particular, but I can say there have always been attack ads or information that's been taken out of context in order to create a brand new message. I mean, I think that there is responsibility on the parts of the message creator and sometimes, but also knowing that they create what the people consume, right? That we are a part of the tone that's being set even with the messaging that's out there. And so us being more critical and pushing back against ads like this, right, saying that it's unacceptable, right, pressing the places where those ads are being run, which is what I think you see with the Trump ad being pulled down from some of the broadcasters, is important for us as well, right, for the consumer, even if you aren't the message producer, to take some of that responsibility of critically thinking and interpreting and taking a moment to understand the context of where that comes from is something that the consumer needs to do even more of.
We've been talking about the Trump immigration ad for 17 minutes, so let's take a look at it. And we, as with some earlier spots, it's long, so we'll look at maybe a little less than 30 seconds worth in this case. Here's the ad.
The jury, please step out of the hallway. Break up soon, kill more. See, the only thing if I can regret is if I can just kill two. I wish if I can kill more of those motherfuckers. Kill more cops soon.
So that aired on, it was on the president's Twitter account. It aired on Sunday Night Football. Big audience before a number of networks, including Fox News, decided that it was racist and they would not air it. Certainly shows the ability of the commander-in-chief to set the agenda, because that became talking point number one today.
Well, you never called Trump a shrinking violet, let's put it that way. So given a spot like that, it's very reminiscent of Willie Horton. Only it's Willie Horton on steroids at this point. And when you've got someone at the helm like Trump saying, I've got to win, whatever it takes, we're going to do it. It's very Machiavellian, but in the end, it may work for him.
He's wanted to fight this election on immigration and the caravan and the southern border. And does that move the needle? Even if it's banned, does the act of banning it by so many networks help him in some way?
I mean, it might. I mean, particularly with the people who already agree with the stance that he's taking. I mean, I think that it is pretty reprehensible for the type of fear that ad is playing into and is exploiting, right? You brought up the old Willie Horton ad. And I think that this does the same thing and is unapologetic about that, or using that kind of fear tactic in a lot of ways that speaks to the people who probably already agree, right? So it sort of builds the base, and then we get to talk about it and say that this is bad. But at this point, it continues to play into a playbook that's sort of brand new when it comes to political how people are discussing politics.
The playbook is new in what way?
In the way that calling something out as being inappropriate or being, this is appealing to some sort of moral base that is below the standard that we have. Calling that out isn't necessarily enough, right? And then gets turned around and then just challenged as being, well, look, these people are already against me. Look at how they're still against me when they're critiquing this message that I've already put out.
Interesting. Let's take a call from Prince George's County. This is Darlene. Darlene, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
My concern is, what is the real issue of all of these people marching on the border? It's not, I don't think we know the real deal, that you don't need military support for keeping them from coming. I feel that our president is using, as you said just now, fear tactics to make us want to hate these people that are coming in.
Darlene, thank you very much for the phone call. And I mean, maybe they came together spontaneously as a group of people trying to emigrate, but politically, the timing is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, the timing has been used in an advantageous way because they're not literally on the border yet, right? They are thousands of miles away still, right? They're in the middle of Mexico, so hundreds of miles away, right? Still in the middle of Mexico, right? There's no assumption that even when that group of asylum seekers, right, get there, if they are asylum seekers and they want to seek asylum in the United States, they won't just all walk across the border, right? That's not even how the process happens, but that's how it's framed, right? And that's how it's used in an ad like this, really short, right, to say, like, let's align this particular group. They're not the same thing, right? It's just aligning two things that maybe look the same, right, to a particular group of people, again, if you're not involving more context, that look the same on the short end of things, but then they're not the same, and that process doesn't even happen the same. And so, again, it plays into that fear in a way that I don't think is beneficial really to anybody.
Here's an interesting email from Frank. I notice ads that have segments of local newscasts in the ad. The local news stations have any say if their segments are used? And apparently not. And actually, we had some personal experience with that maybe 8 years ago now, where some of our content wound up in a political ad, and we were unable to stop it. And I think the commercial broadcasters have armies of lawyers, and they were unable to stop it either. Journalistically, you hate to see that.
Yeah. Once it gets out, it's fair use, so it can be used.
Let's argue that sometime.
Yeah, we could argue that. Fair use.
Phone call from Franklin County, Pennsylvania. This is Maggie. Maggie, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I wanted to know is who decides whether these political ads are true or not? And then my second question is, this ad of Trump's, to me, that was the only ad that I've seen lately that really told the truth, because there was immigrants came in here and killed people. So it's like, who's deciding what the ads are true or not?
Thank you very much for the phone call. There is no final arbiter. I mean, the networks, conceivably, somebody could take it to court. Courts don't like to exercise prior restraint. I don't know.
It's all part of the game. It's perception is reality. So if I can build on perceptions that are out there, and that's what you got to give credit to Trump for. He can take things that are floating out there. They may be unseemly. It may be something we feel is kind of, that's wrong, that's un-American. But he knows how to build on it. And he knows how to say, if I give you a snippet of this and a snippet of that and a pinch of that, I can come up with this some sort of winning formula that will resonate in the minds of viewers that, hey, whoa, look at what's happening. We've got all these people coming in and it's out of control, and what are we going to do about immigration? And once again, we're just building on people's fear, and fear is a strong motivator. We know that through the arc of history.
Is there a point in the process where I've just seen enough political ads, the next one is not going to move the needle at all? That we're maybe within a week of Election Day, the tsunami of these things sort of numbs everybody to it, and you stop paying attention. I mean, as a marketer, well, let me ask it another way. As a marketer, yes. I mean, do you think maybe there's more value in reaching those people a little bit earlier, just a week or two earlier?
Probably a week or two early. People wake up maybe within 2 weeks of it's time to go to the polls and do things, even with the early voting and all this sort of thing. So if you hit them hard with a message, and it is enough to inspire people, to get them drummed up in there saying, all right, we're full of energy, I've rallied my base, that may be effective. But the idea that we won't respond going into the future, we'll become numb to it, we always come back. It's always amazing. Every election, this is the most important election of your lifetime. And we come back in that class, a group of folks are always out there.
That 1,000-year storm that we keep having.
Yeah.
Right. But if people decided that they were actively tuning it out, right, or not paying attention to it, then that might.
The money would move somewhere.
I mean, then the money moves someplace else, right? And you have to market to people in a different way if it's not the TV ad. So, I mean.
Kent County, this is David. David, just time for a quick question, sir.
The best ad was Jesse Colvin's ad here at the very end, saying that even though he's a Democrat, which I'm a moderate, I don't vote party, he's going to vote against Pelosi if he's elected to the House.
David,
and it's
got to leave it there. Thank you very much for the phone call. Last words here. You know, the thing I wanted to ask, in the age of highly targeted TV, Facebook, media, I'm still getting these big postcard ads at home from candidates every day, tons of them.
And it still works because before you go into the polls, there's a name or two, and on some of the lower tickets or races on the ticket, you might say, oh yeah, that name resonates, and you're checking the boxes, so it can still work in that regard. One of the things that also struck me about this idea of what the caller was saying, testimonials have become pretty popular. It's one thing for me to say, here's my story, versus having someone say, I'm voting for so-and-so, and here's why.
Professor Boyd, Professor Watley, we have to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you for watching Direct Connection, and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.